Well, Mr. Sharma, as we see that this is a very important day in terms of education and actual, talking about the global literacy.
Yes.
So, the aim of the literacy for individuals and for everybody.
Yes, exactly.
Education doesn't count only the formal education. Of course, it's not what we, go to school for certificates. It is the education, the real education, the moral education.
Yes.
So, what do you think? Like, how will you, elaborate this?
Yeah, they first as I pointed out, education is something which really brings out the real fiber in man, the real element or the real dimension it will unfold. So in that process, it is the felt need of everyone, the individual as well as the institutions across the world, across the nations, to really a system where education becomes a kind of a fundamental right.
Right, correct.
Like everyone will be in a position to plead for education, that it should not be denied even to a single individual, because the entire planet is such that everyone has got the equal right to get knowledge out of it. So the purpose of this theory is that everyone is reminded to take an serious look into this cause of education, which forms the real purpose of life. In fact, to discover the real purpose of life, we need to be literate, and once we are literate, we can be in a position to understand various aspects of life, and then really go deeper into ourselves and discover the real dimension for ourselves.
Right, sir.
So
we'll just have a look on the little visuals here, then we'll further discuss it.
Definitely.
Mr. Sharma, it was celebrated for the first time in 1967. Its aim is to highlight the importance of literacy to individuals, communities and societies.
Yes.
So that is the actual aim, but I have certain doubts. Like when we talk about the literacy and education, or actually the formal education and the moral education. So how do you, analyze this? What, in your opinion, what do you think, what is the status of overall, let's talk about India first.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Since this is our motherland,
Yes.
so we'll first take an example of our country. So where does India stand in terms of that? The real education I'm talking about, it will include the formal education and then the, moral education and the general literacy also.
Yes, I would start with a maxim which is very popular across the world. Generally they say that look east. So East was always identified with knowledge, wisdom, and it was a source of perennial light to everyone.
Right.
So in terms of the formal education, or in terms of that spiritual or moral education or ethical education or higher education, or the transcendental education, the purpose for which India stood all these ages was, it was an integrated system of education, because man does not live by food alone.
Correct.
Food serves the purpose of maintaining only the physical dimension of man.
Correct.
But the sages have discovered that there are many dimensions to the man, apart from this physical dimension.
Right.
So to satisfy those higher ends, we have to really have a kind of education which transcends all these barriers, and it leads to the real source of knowledge.
Right.
According to India, they say that everything is inherent in us. All knowledge is within us. So the only purpose is to remove what is between us and education, that light. So we have to uncover. Once you uncover, light will pour forth.
Absolutely.
So we are not deriving anything from nature. Actually, we are pouring out what is within us. That is the concept of education.
And as you said, like we should always look towards east.
Yes.
Right. So I really, it's very impressive. I mean, the term itself is very impressive and it has a lot of meaning. Since the sun rises from east, so we can relate it to it, right? So the light comes, the first light of the day, it starts from the east.
Eastern.
And it goes to the west.
Yeah, I really agree with you.
And my point is, like, when we practically see, they are like, in terms of education, when I say education, I mean overall, not just the formal schooling and college or the universities.
Yes.
Definitely, we have done a lot past 70, 80 years after the independence, post-independence. But there's a lot more to do about it, right? So, the ground reality is that, like, we go to schools, people go to colleges, people are like, there are some people who are, educated, but yet they're illiterate.
Yes, this is a very fine term which you have coined during this session. Educated, but they are really illiterate. That is the problem with most of the so-called pseudo-educations.
Right.
Because we are not able to really discriminate between the real educated and the pseudo or non-educated.
Exactly.
Because there is no barrier. People are always going by external wants.
Correct.
And to satisfy that, they are deriving various means for attaining those ends, which are fixed by them, which are mentally fixed, socially demonstrable and other things. But all these things stand only for a limited dimension.
Right.
They are not able to understand the very purpose of life.
Correct.
If the purpose of life is understood, because our blue planet is not inhabited by man alone.
Correct.
We have 84 lakh species of beings on this particular earth, of which man forms only one species.
Correct.
So, when we really say that the man is in a position to understand everything, conquer even nature, go to space and go to other planets, understand everything, then we really have a question within ourselves as to what is the real glory of this man?
Correct.
What really sets him apart? What makes him the crown of the creation? So when we are encountering such deeper, really necessary questions of our life, the other section of that knowledge pours forth, and that is called the transcendental knowledge or wisdom.
Correct. So if we see, like, yes, of course, we discussed about the problems. That is something which is prevalent in our society. I have seen when you talk about the overall species. So, n number of species are there.
Yes.
It includes animals, plants, and everything.
Yes. Microbial organisms to the highest, like
right. So I have seen lots of people, torturing these animals at times. So over there we can, calculate or assume that this person is still illiterate. He might have been to school, at least done some.
He might have even earned a doctorate for himself. Right. If he is set to torture a particular living animal.
Or some animal, let's say on a road, some dog is eating and they will disturb him unnecessarily. That means he is lacking that education.
Definitely.
And what is the solution for that?
Solution is that in our schools, the curriculum has to be, overall it should be changed. Because the real inputs have to be given to the students at the right moment. When a student is in the school, in the formative age or in that age of impressions, all these vital ideas or principles about the glory of life and oneness of life, that is more important. Actually, the Indian thinking is very, very important because it always says our life is one. It never distinguishes that this particular consciousness belongs to man, this one belongs to blue whale, that one belongs to animal, that to virus. It never says. The Chaitanya or the spark is one and the same.
Correct.
Be it a very big organism or a very minute, tiny one. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Size doesn't matter.
Life is unique.
What matters is life, and that is one and the same.
It's very simple.
If you build your life on that particular principle, you can never ever even imagine doing harm to any other creature.
Absolutely. And why, the point is, since we are in the east, we are in a part where the sun rises first in the morning. Why are we deviated?
It is because there are some questions like some invasions were there, and later the westernization and globalization has really taken so many important things from our bosom. Because the westernization is such that everyone is impressed that glitterati is there. So everyone naturally, they say that gold is less attractive compared to that which is non-gold.
Correct.
That is more glittering.
Right.
So people are attracted to those systems of life, and because of that, what is happening? Our value system is getting drained out. We are aware, but still we commit a mistake.
Correct.
See the irony. We are well aware that what we do is wrong, but still propelled by something we do it.
Correct. If we see our religious scripts and all these Vedas, then or any other religion, so
all religions are
there is
very
enlightenment.
Yes.
What people have deviated and they are taking wrong ways. I mean, using their energies in the wrong forms, wrong ways, and this is the reason that the actual literacy is not there. We are not only talking about the formal literacy, we are talking about the education, the real education, the moral education or the ethical education. And we'll have a look on the visuals and then we'll further discuss it. Well, those were very beautiful visuals.
Yes.
We saw the children in the school and the data over there, the information over there, which shows us where we stand. Formal, I mean, in terms of formal education, though it is the...
even it is required because this is the stepping stone for that higher education.
Correct, sir.
The thing is, we should never stop with this formal education. This should be taken as a stepping stone for attaining that higher education.
Absolutely, sir. And I feel that the education is a never-ending process.
Never.
Every day we'll learn one or the other thing. And off the camera also we keep discussing all these things. And definitely, like there's a lot of enlightenment and anybody can be your teacher. Anybody can be a student of anyone. Be it a small kid, we can learn a lot from him, or be it an old man, we can learn a lot from him also.
Definitely.
This is how the education actually works, and with this we also need some formal system also where we get the certificates, and so that we can prove that we have learned certain set of rules or certain certain knowledge we have got, so we are fit for performing some job and offer our service.
That is also required.
That's also required, but with that definitely there is a lot we have to do, like going for the ethics and respecting elders, and how to behave with our neighbors, how to behave with our colleagues. This is also important, sir.
Because of late so many frictions are taking place in the organizations and in factories or in any other place where so many people mingle. It is all because no one is ethically rooted. Why does friction crop up at all? If we question ourselves, it is because of the ego clash. And why does ego come? Only because of non-understanding of ourselves.
Exactly.
If we understand ourselves, there will be no ego at all, no ego clash at all. So the society will flow like a smooth this one. There will not be any friction, any confusion, any chaos. What we are witnessing today is utter chaos. It is because the society is built on wrong value systems. Though we have inherited best systems, you have been telling me that we can learn from everyone.
Yes, that's what I said, yes.
The Veda very clearly says, Ano bhadraha kratavo yantu vishwataha. Rigveda says, we can learn from any quarter of this world, east, west, north, south, any place. That shows that we can learn from everyone.
Definitely.
And there is also one more thing called Avadhuta Gita, where the learned Avadhuta or the enlightened sage says, I have 24 teachers, he says.
Love.
So he says the Panchabhutas, the 5 elements, earth, water, sky and all these things. Then He says, honeybee, hunter, and he maid, and everyone. He has a set of 24 people. Sharakara, he says, one who is making that arrow.
Right.
So he says, once I was passing through a place, and there was one person who was meant to give the sharpened arrows for the king of that place. So he was sitting out of his house and he was doing his work, sharpening the arrow. His focus or concentration on that work was so much that that particular day the king of that place had come to that village. And when a king comes to a place, you can understand how much of the celebration
today's times also we see chief minister is going to pass, police arrangements and roads will be cleared. And lots of arrangements, of course. And really imagine when we go back, like
when we go back, and that to a small village, and king had come to that place.
Come to a small village.
So rarity of it's a rarest of the rare cases. They have made elaborate arrangements, and the king with all the tingo dances and everything had passed by that person's hut, but still he was only working on that particular job, unmindful. Then Avadhuta really felt, what is the secret behind him? Then he approached him and he asked him, dear man, some big procession has passed just by your house. May I know what is it meant for? Then he lifts his head and he says, I do not know anything. I was fixed in my work. I was focused. I was concentrating. So then Avadhuta understands, if a person has even 1/10 of that concentration which this person has in his sadhana or in his spiritual strife or strive for knowledge, learning, definitely the ladder of learning will be like anything.
Very beautiful example, very beautiful example. So concentration is very important.
Concentration is the key to unlock the vast treasures of knowledge. God has kept so much here.
Exactly.
But we are not able to find the right key.
We have all eyes, hands,
everything.
We can stop, even if we are angry, we can stop being angry. If we are happy, we can stop that also.
We can even contain, because both are really detrimental, they say. Vedanta very clearly says, not only Vedanta, every religion speaks about the same set of values.
Correct.
Because the different names of the religions and the paths appear to be variant because they had their origin in different places.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, the elements are one and the same. Language is different.
Exactly. Language is different, culture is different, the way of life is different, but the actual aim is same.
But the real aim, real purpose, and the real direction which all the scriptures set us to is one and the same. That's the beauty about them.
The beauty is that how to behave, in short. How to behave and how to live your life.
Yes, that is the purpose for which this day is also earmarked by UNESCO.
Exactly.
UNESCO says, if you are really ignorant about the basic literacy, then you will not be in a position to accept the higher values of your life. Correct. So it says, first make everyone literate. Then later, with that literacy, they are trying to incorporate formal education, and after formal education, higher education, supreme education.
Exactly.
It's a 3-tier system.
Absolutely.
So that is.
And I will add one more. That is the moral education.
Oh yes,
which
very
we should,
nice.
Get.
Definitely, that is very important, because lack of morals have made this world really. They have shattered the world like anything.
And if we have all the 3 elements, but moral education definitely.
Again, we will come back.
We call them. Uneducated illiterates.
Uneducated. That's true. Because
so that's the thing.
Morality. Our discussion clearly points to one idea or the ideal that morality is the backbone of education, knowledge, learning, or whatever you call it, literacy. So on this particular and very auspicious day, our discussion very clearly says that to be literate is to be morally knowledgeable.
Absolutely, sir. We'll have a look on the visuals again and then we'll further continue.
Sure.
Well, sir, there's another thing
Yes.
which also will be a part of education in a way. When we, I mean, you have been, I think we had a discussion about it. That's about how to talk, actually,
Yes.
how to discuss things.
How to discuss.
So let's suppose we are working together and
Yes.
there's some difference between
Yes.
us and you are not agreeing with me, I'm not agreeing
Yes,
with you.
yes.
So how do we take that situation in hand? How to control that situation?
This is a wonderful thing because our ancient sages have given us a system by which discourses or discussions between different people upon some ideas where some variance is seen,
Right.
how to set that variance down to the point of truth is the main discussion. They have made a system called Vada, Jalpa and Vitanda.
Vada, Jalpa and Vitanda.
Vitanda. Vada is something where truth is the focus of both the parties.
Correct.
So irrespective of whether you give your version or I give my version, both are really fixed on finding the real thing.
Real thing.
So we are not bothered which version is going to really suit or really match. If your version matches also, I will be very glad because we both have discovered the truth,
Correct.
which is of paramount importance to us. Versions are not important. So Vada is the best path where only truth is sought, irrespective of our individual ideologies or ideas.
Right.
And second thing is Jalpa. In Jalpa, both the parties listen to each other, but because of some kind of element of ego, it plays its effect, so that they say at the end of the discussion, okay, I agree with your viewpoint and you too seem to be agreeing with my viewpoint, but let us keep our viewpoints to ourselves.
Right.
Let us not contradict, let us not stick to a kind of uniformity. Let us have two different opinions
Correct.
forever. So that is called Jalpa. Then the other thing comes Vitanda.
Vitanda.
As the very name goes by, Vitanda is something where the person who is trying to have, who is expected to listen to the other person, even the law says, Audio alterum partem. Listen to both the sides.
Absolutely.
So, but here he is not prepared to even listen to the other party's version.
Correct.
So there the Vitanda comes. He says, only mine is correct. You have to accept it. There is no other go.
There's no other way.
So that is the play of Vitanda. So ancients, they say, we have to always follow Vada. Only the right discussion with regard to the identification of the truth or identification of any particular path or the supreme truth for that matter, reality of the realities.
So this is something very beautiful and beautiful words and an example that we can say we can follow our ancient times or our ancestors actually.
Yes.
So three things are there: Vada, Jalpa and Vitanda. So whenever there's a contradiction, you can put yourself in these three frames and accordingly solve the issue, and not to exaggerate it, not to be angry. In fact, you have to be truthful to yourself. When you are right, you are sure that you are right, you just keep quiet and go with the Vada. That is what should you do and what should we also do. Am I right, sir?
Absolutely.
So
Right.
we will have a look on the visuals again and then
Sure.
we'll further discuss.
Sure.
Well, sir, our motherland is very big, very vast, and very diverse in
Yes.
terms of culture, colors, creed, languages, and everything. And recently, a new education policy has come into picture. And if we see the existing system, sir,
Yes.
I've been to college, I've been to school, I've been to everywhere. I mean, the formal education system, and I somehow always felt something is missing
Yes.
when it comes to the practicals. So I see there's a lot of theory, but like if you try to explain me a number of things in theory, it is somewhere I will not understand. Maybe some people will understand, depending on their, I mean, capability. Different, every individual has different capability
Yes.
to understand and
That is true.
understand the things.
Yes.
But I've been an average, like not too bad, not too good also, to be honest. So I somewhere felt
I think you are modest enough.
yes, and the thing is, like the practical part is missing in this in this system of education. So no matter what they teach on the blackboard or whiteboard now, so lots of things they will draw, but
Yes.
actually until and unless I don't see that thing.
Yes.
Let's take an example. I have been a mass communication student.
No.
So no matter how many times they draw the camera, this is the button, that's the button, this is lens, this is shutter, this is X, Y, Z.
Yes.
But if I mean, if I have the real camera in front of me and I see which button is what, when I press it, when I touch it, when I feel it,
When you
then I can understand it. So what do you think about this new education policy? Is this part included in that?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, the very purpose of this new education policy is to institute what is missing all the while.
Right.
So here there are two things. As you have rightly spoken, first thing is regarding the application part of it. That is why the new education policy, Prime Minister has made more focus on the vocational training,
Correct.
practicalization, application related knowledge. So that is the one area which was missing all these days. Even in some of the IITs also, students were told to do some projects by themselves, because unless they have the hands